Hello everyone, my name is Mariam Noordin from SEK International School Qatar and Camilo Jose Tella University. Today I will present an innovative curriculum planning framework that integrates understanding by design with the IB Middle Years program to strengthen teaching practice, curriculum planning, and classroom learning experiences, particularly in Arabic language acquisition. Let's begin with the purpose of the study. This study had three main objectives. First, to explore how understanding by design complements the existing MYP planning framework. Second, to develop an innovative curriculum planning framework inspired by backwards design for Arabic language acquisition. Finally, to examine how this integrated framework can strengthen teaching practice, curriculum coherence, and students' classroom learning experiences. An important point is that this study does not propose replacing the MYP planner. Instead, it demonstrates how understanding by design can enrich and strengthen it. To investigate this question, I adopted a conceptual research approach. This research follows a conceptual and analytical methodology rather than an empirical intervention. A critical review of the literature on both Understanding by Design and the IB Middle Years program has been conducted. A comparative analysis was carried out to identify the complementary principles shared by both frameworks. Based on this analysis, I developed an innovative curriculum planning framework designed specifically for Arabic language acquisition. And for sure, it can be used for other subjects in the IBMYP Middle Years program. The study was guided by three research questions. How can understanding by design strengthen curriculum planning? Which principles best complement the MYP? And can we how can an integrated framework improve teaching practice and classroom learning experiences? Before discussing the innovation, it's important to understand the strengths of the existing MYP planning process. The MYP already provides a strong conceptual framework for curriculum planning. Learning begins with concepts and inquiry, which guide meaningful learning experiences. Assessment is designed to demonstrate conceptual understanding, while reflection encourages learners to transfer their understanding to new contexts. This learner centered philosophy is one of the major strengths of the program. However, opportunities have been identified to strengthen the alignment between learning outcomes, assessment, and classroom practice. This becomes clearer when we look more closely at the current MYP planner. The current MYP planner, as we can see, has several important strengths. First, it's concept driven, inquiry based, integrates approaches to learning skills, ATL skills, and encourages continuous reflection. However, there are also opportunities for enhancement. In particular, desired learning outcomes could guide planning more explicitly from the beginning. Assessment could be designed earlier through backward planning, creating stronger coherence between planning, instruction, and assessment. This is where understanding by design offers significant values. So, what exactly does understanding by design contribute? Understanding by design is built around one central principle: begin with the end in mind. Rather than planning activities first, teachers first identify what learners should understand and be able to transfer. Assessment evidence is then designed before planning classroom learning experiences. This creates purposeful instruction where every activity contributes directly to the intended learning outcomes. In this model, teachers become designers of meaningful learning experiences rather than simply deliverers of the content or delivering the content. After comparing both frameworks, it is revealed that they are far more complementary than different. So, backward design strengthens the alignment between learning goals, assessments, and classroom learning experiences. Although the MYP and understanding by design were delivered independently, they share many common principles. Both emphasize conceptual understanding, authentic assessment, learner centered teaching, and reflection. Understanding by design contributes an explicit backward planning sequence that strengthens curriculum alignment. Understanding by design also contributes an additional strength through its backward design process. Rather than beginning, as we said, with the learning activities, planning starts by identifying the desired learning outcomes, then designing assessment evidence, and finally, planning the learning experience that will enable the learners to achieve those outcomes. This is the key finding of the study. Rather than replacing the MYP planner, understanding by design complements it by strengthening curriculum alignment. Integrating the two frameworks, the IBMYP planner and the UbD planner, support more intentional curriculum planning, creates stronger connections between learning outcomes, assessment, classroom learning experiences, and finally enhances both teaching practice and student learning. This slide presents the main contribution of the study: developing an innovative MYP planner that integrates the strengths of both frameworks. As we said before, planning now begins with clearly defined desired results and learning goals. Assessment evidence is then designed before the instruction, ensuring that learning experiences are intentionally aligned with the intended outcomes. Also, the planner incorporates explicit learning goals, inquiry, differentiation, ATL skills, reflection, and transfer. Rather than changing the philosophy of the MYP, this framework strengthens its internal coherence and provides teachers with a more systematic planning process. One important innovation within this framework is the use of the Where-to model. We are going to speak about that in the upcoming slide. So, Where-to provides a practical structure for designing classroom learning experiences. It ensures that learners understand where they are going, are motivated to learn, receive the necessary knowledge and skills, also have the opportunities to reflect and revise their understanding, experience differentiated instructions, and progress throughout a coherent learning sequence. Instead of isolated activities, learning experiences become intentionally connected and fully aligned with both assessment and learning outcomes. What are the educational benefits of this integrated planning approach? The proposed framework benefits both teachers and learners. For teachers, it supports more purposeful curriculum planning, stronger assessment design, greater curriculum coherence, and more effective differentiation. For learners, it makes learning goals clearer, promotes meaningful inquiry, strengthens reflection and learner agency, and supports the transfer of learning beyond the classroom. Ultimately, stronger planning leads to stronger classroom learning experiences and engagement by the students. Finally, I would like to summarize the main contribution of this work. This study demonstrates that understanding by design and the IB Middle Years program are highly complementary frameworks. Their integration strengthens curriculum planning throughout the backward design by aligning, as we mentioned before, learning outcomes, assessment, classroom learning experiences. The proposed framework embeds inquiry, ATL skills, differentiation, reflection, and the word model within a coherent planning process. As a result, it supports more intentional teaching practice, enhances curriculum coherence, promotes meaningful learning, and encourages learner agency and the transfer of learning by developing their transfer skills. Although developed for Arabic language acquisition, the framework also has the potential to be adapted across the other MYP subject groups and educational contexts. The proposed innovative planner, as you can see in this slide, offers an integrated planning framework that aligns curriculum design, assessment pedagogy, and classroom practice to enhance meaningful and transferable learning experiences. Thank you for your time and attention. Thoughtful planning, purposeful pedagogy, and meaningful learning experiences empower learners to understand, apply, reflect, and transfer their learning in and beyond the classroom. Looking forward to receiving your comments. Thank you so much.